Hey everyone, happy Tuesday to you. I'm a day late, but not a dollar short. I was out yesterday when it was our noon live, and so I thought, what better day than to just do it over on a Tuesday for you. So today's live is a little sort of motivation, testimonial, give you some ideas of what you should be focusing on if you're in the preparation stage before surgery, and really just to highlight the differences that I notice when people who come for their knee replacement with a plan in place and the ability to take on their rehab for themselves versus the people who are well-intentioned but probably underprepared and sort of undereducated on what the road ahead has in store for them. So as you may or may not know, I am a physio that works at a hospital in the local community where I live. And on the orthopedic floor, we see at least 2 to 3 knee replacements a day that get admitted to the hospital. Our hospital does an overnight stay for people. So their surgery is done one day and then they stay usually just one night and then are released home the next day. So my interaction is as the inpatient therapist is to go in, help people get up and out of bed, make sure they can move safely and adequately to go home. So depending on their stairs, their house setup, all the things where they're heading to, that's what we practice. Sometimes I even help them get into the vehicle and help them get out the door. So last week I had a handful of different experiences with people of all different categories of preparedness. So I thought I'd highlight just some of the differences that I noticed while I was working with the different individuals. And of course, I will not use any patient names or identifying characteristics, but I did want to share with you what I notice as the physio who sees, hundreds, if not now, I'm probably over thousands of different knee replacements on their first day after surgery. Here is the major difference that I see. So my first person I went into, I walked up, they were already sitting at the edge of the bed. They had gotten their shorts, their shoes, their socks on, and they were actually waiting for me at the edge of their bed, saying the first words out of their mouth were, "Can I go home?" Now, I have my whole list of things that I check to make sure that we're safe and we can go and all the things. But seeing that person sitting at the edge of the bed told me a couple things straight off the bat. Number one is that they knew that getting up and out of bed is one of the most important things to get started with. And they also had the tools and the ability to do that for themselves. The second thing is that their pain was well enough managed and they were ready to work with me, as opposed to the other extreme when I walk around the curtain and someone is in bed, their eyes are closed, they've, shut their eyes tightly saying, "Oh God, are you here to get me out of bed?" They're so afraid and fearful that what I'm about to do is going to make them feel worse. Okay, so back to our first patient here. They're sitting at the edge of the bed. They're smiling. They're ready. And I said, "Is your pain well managed?" They said, "Yes." They rated it a 3 out of 10. I said, "Perfect. Have you already been up yet?" They said, "Yes. I've been to the bathroom several times." They used their walker. They had somebody go with them from the nursing staff, but they had already been up a few times and were managing well. So after that, I said, "All right, off we go. We go for a walk." And they also have stairs they have to do to get in and out of their house. So we head over to our little practice stairs. I get to the bottom of the stairs with them and I say, "Right, how do you do stairs with crutches?" They say, "The good leg goes up." I said, "Perfect. Where does your crutch go?" And they say, "It stays with my sore leg." Up the set of stairs they go, turn around, back down. Before we know it, we're back again at the bedside and I'm measuring their knee flexibility. From here, I give them a little education on how much bend and how much straighten they should have, all sort of basic instructions, review of their exercises for home, and answer any questions that they may have asked. Now, this interaction probably took 10 minutes or so, but the patient was guiding how much information I needed to give them. They had already made a follow-up physiotherapy plan. They had all the equipment that they needed. And really, because their pain was well managed and they were moving well, I knew that they were going to be out the door within the next couple of hours. Okay, so that was example 1. Sounds like they were pretty prepared, doesn't it? Okay, example number 2. Go to and these people are actually even in the same room, right? We have 4 bed wards, so there's 4 beds in each room. So this person had been overhearing the last person I was talking to. So I peeked my head around the corner, and they're, like I said, covers are pulled up. They're like, oh no, am I next? Oh God, do I have to get up? So we start at the very beginning. I introduce myself. I say, how is your pain? And they said, I haven't had anything recently, and it is now a 7 or an 8 out of 10. And they're just laying in bed. I said, okay, let's get your pain under control, but I will return. So they get their pain meds on board, and I say, have you been up and out of bed yet? No. And actually quite fearful about the fact that getting up out of bed sounds really daunting. So we work together. I show them the techniques. We get them into sitting. The minute they're sitting, they're holding in their breath. They're starting to sweat. I can see the fear and the anxiety on their face. And I just have to spend a few minutes breathing with them, giving them a bit more education about what our plan is, what we aim to do, but also that the expectation is that they will be going home later in the day. And the minute I say that, the person bursts into tears. How am I going to manage? Oh my God, what do you think? And they started spiraling. And so I was taken back a bit because normally I don't get that extreme of a response, but I had to sort of pause and sort of reset and say, we'll only send you home if you're moving well enough and if your pain is well managed, and, filling in the gaps of where they were starting to be really worried. Now, again, we haven't even stood yet, so they haven't even tested out how that new knee feels. This is just all the buildup and the anxiety of waiting on that new knee to work. So we got the person standing. Again, their pain was better managed now. It was down in that sort of 4-ish range, 4 out of 10. We got the person standing, got them taking a few deep breaths and testing it out. Lo and behold, they started putting a little bit of weight on that leg. Oh, feels a little better if I do that, doesn't it? They did a few little steps at the bedside. Okay, not so bad. Then I suggest perhaps we walk to the bathroom. Off they go. And let me say, if you are ever in hospital and you have been given bathroom versus a commode or a bedpan, bathroom is always your first and only goal. Be able to use indoor plumbing and running water is a huge advantage to using a bedpan or a commode, which is right at the bedside. So we walk into the bathroom. Now, after all of that, this person was quite tired, and they were sort of getting symptoms of being a little bit lightheaded. They were feeling like they were getting a little bit sweaty, and they needed a rest break. So we walk back to the bed and we lay them back down. All in all, a very successful first time out of bed and first bit of mobility. But I hope you can see the difference in how somebody who was full of anxiety and the unknown and, sort of that spiral of how am I going to manage this? What am I going to do? How do I do this? But, the spinning of the uncontrolled thoughts really affected their ability to even listen to what I was saying and take on the advice I was giving them. So this person, I did go back in the afternoon. So this is a couple hours later. They had had some lunch. They had practiced getting in and out of bed a couple more times to get to the bathroom. They had sat in a chair. And then I went and did the stair practice with them, which is sort of our final usual thing that we practice before people go home. All in all, they were able to go home that first day, but they weren't ready at 9 a.m. like the first person was. They actually weren't ready till about 4 p.m. So that difference was hours of, like I said, buildup of anxiety and pain, and really the fear that was with them was all because they didn't really know what to expect or know how to take on some of the little bits of their recovery for themselves. So here's what I've noticed over, almost, I'm at 17 years now, so not quite 2 decades, but years and years of helping people after knee replacement. The people who have the most successful recovery after knee replacements are the ones who are prepared not just physically, meaning they've read the book and they've done their ankle pumps and their thigh squeezes, but the people who have a plan. They know what they need to do, what's expected of them that first, day, week, month after surgery, and they've actually prepared themselves by practicing. They've gotten in and out of bed. They've gone up and down the stairs. They've used their walker. They checked, does the walker work? Can I get in and around my house? Or they've decided to go to a different part of their house where they don't have to do stairs. The planning and the preparation in advance has taken that level of anxiety and given them back some control over what they're expected to do after surgery and how they're going to make it. Now, the other person who shows up sort of saying, well, I couldn't do anything advanced because my knee pain was too bad, or I didn't have the information. I didn't know what to do. Those are the people that I then spend quite a bit of time giving education. Reassurance is probably one of the main things that I need to do when people are feeling overwhelmed. But it's actually really hard to take in that information day one after surgery, because you have to remember, you've gone through some form of an anesthetic. Not everybody has a general, but some form of anesthetic that it does affect your body. You're given pain medications that you are not used to and that your body may or may not tolerate very well. So you can have symptoms of nausea, dizziness, vomiting, feeling spacey. A lot of people just say, I feel stoned, which means they are there in body, but not really in spirit. So me trying to educate them on what the next week of their rehab should look like, very little of it lands and sticks. And they don't recall a lot of what I say. Sometimes I've even introduced myself on the second day after surgery if they haven't gone home, and they don't remember working with me the day before. So we've all had experiences like that where you were in a haze or a fuzz from medications or a sickness. Even if you've just had a really bad flu, you know that your brain isn't taking in information and making it make sense. And going forward, your brain could go, I remember she said something about this, but I don't remember what it was. So this is exactly why I created the the Knee Success Club on School. Because I realize people don't just need more exercises, they need a roadmap. You need step-by-step guidance on where to start before surgery, how to best prepare physically, mentally, and emotionally before your surgery. And then you need that step-by-step plan of what to focus on first after surgery, how to get better sleep, how to get your knee to bend, how to manage swelling. All these little pieces are so important. And yes, you're given a set of exercise sheets and you will follow up with a physiotherapist. But having that sort of step-by-step version of what you should be focusing your time and energy on, what's an acceptable amount of pain to live with, what could you do to help modify your pain, get rid of it while waiting for surgery, all these things have such an impact on how you recover after the fact that I don't think it's focused on enough when people are going through the prehab or the preparation process. So if you are somebody who is waiting for your knee replacement and you want to be that shining star, gold star student when you have your knee replaced, then come and check out the Knee Replacement Success Club on School. I'll put the link down below, and your invitation is to join the membership, test out these roadmaps that I have.